Hello, everybody. Pastor Randy here. Hope you are doing great on this beautiful Monday, Labor Day. So many of you might be off today if you get a chance to. I hope you enjoy your time, your friends, your family, whatever it is that will fill your day. I want to just come to you this morning. Actually, I'm at home today as myself, and just share just a brief moment with you. Maybe not a full time that we would normally have, but I want to talk about a couple of words: instructions and directions. Now, oftentimes those words can be met with all different types of feeling. Some people welcome that because they like to be comforted in knowing where they're going or what they're doing. Other people resent that. They don't like to be told. They want to figure it out on their own. So we have a mixed bag of things on that. However, when it applies to life, while there are many things that we figure out on our own to some degree, we like to call that the school of hard knocks or whatever. When it comes to matters of faith, when it comes to matters of understanding what walking with God really looks like, it requires instructions, directions, but it also requires one other component: obedience. Now, again, I know that word kind of flies in the face of many of, well, I don't want to listen to that. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. That's kind of a big issue in the world today. And to some degree, I don't disagree because it depends on where the instruction, the direction is coming from as to whether our obedience seems merited. That could go all kinds of directions. I mean, that's not the intent of this lesson. I want us to pick back up on where we were at the other day in the healing of the blind man and looking at the context of understanding this moment and how it relates to us, how it relates to everyday walks in life, and how it relates to understanding the coming into that relationship and understanding who Jesus really is. So let me share with you as we look in our chapter 9. As we left off, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. We talked about very, very deeply what that meant. So after he's finished, he says in verse 6, he had spoken. The blind man is there. Again, this is one who's been blind from birth. So this is one who's never seen. And there's an illustrated purpose of that, the reason that it's written that way, so that we understand this is one who has always been in darkness. Okay, so we can look at this from the literal, we can look at this from the spiritual, because they both go together. Okay, here's one who has never seen, literally always been in the dark since they were born. But one who does not know Christ has also always been in the dark and has not seen, and he has not received the light of Christ to open their eyes. And so they go together. So it says here, when he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle. Okay, so again, we've seen that scene maybe in movies. We can get that illustration about making the mud and putting it on the guy's eyes or whatever. But this was for the purpose of obedience. There was no magic in the mud. There was no magic in the spit. None of this. This was about obedience. This was about instruction, directions, and obedience. And it says he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. He wiped it on there. That's really what that means. Very simple. And then here's where it gets important. And he said to him, go. Now that word is important. Go. Wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation sent. That's the direction. That's where you go. And he went his way. Obedience. And he washed and he came out seeing. The neighbors, therefore, which they had seen him before, said, is that not the one who sat and begged? They recognized clearly something incredible had happened. So we see here this miracle account. We see the physical action of Jesus. He made the clay, he wiped it on the eyes. But we see the obedience of the blind man. You see, today we've become conditioned to where I want it and I want it now. Do it for me. Hand it to me. In other words, I don't want to have to do anything. I just want to sit down and you serve me. I want to do nothing. But does that teach us anything? Growing up, we use this as an example. If you growing up, if you never had to learn how to chop wood, or you never had to learn how to wash your own clothes, or fold those clothes, or cook, or any of those things, and you find yourself at 17, 18, 19, whatever it is, time that you leave home, if you leave home. Some people are still home at 40. That's another story. But you've never had to do any of those things because your mom or your grandma, whoever it was that you were raised by, they never made you. Now, this is not talking about being derelict in our duty as parents and never allowing our children the comfort of knowing that mom or dad will take care of them. But it's talking about preparing them for life. If you never had to do any of that, and then all of a sudden find yourself either on your own, I mean, Lord forbid, maybe your parents die. I have a friend, his parents died when he was 6 and had to be raised by brothers and sisters and had to learn a lot of things on his own. But if you never had to learn those things, and then all of a sudden you're out there, you're just kind of aimless. You're just kind of meandering around like, I don't know what to do. I don't have a clue. Sometimes it's good to have instruction. Sometimes it's good to learn things. So the obedience of the blind man is important, because if he wanted to see, if he wanted this to take place, then again, we're not talking about a magical formula in the mud or in the clay, or whatever, how it's written there, that Jesus put on his eyes. It was, okay, here's my part. I'm going to help you get there, but now you actually have to go. In other words, the stranger that comes up and says, I don't have any gas in my car. Okay, I'll take and fill your car up, but you have to drive to your destination. I'm not going to drive it for you. You have to go do it. I'll get you the ingredients for this meal. I'll help you with that, but you have to cook it. Jesus here says, I will put into place what is necessary for you to get your sight, but you have to act on it. You see, friends, that's the picture of salvation. Jesus supplied all the tools, all the necessary things for us to have what it is he offers. But will we take the steps to get it? Will we take the steps to receive it? So it says here that he did this, and the blind man was told to go. So the action part in this, the action part of the blind man, is the key to it all. Because we see that word go. We see that word go. And it's used here, and we also see the name of the place. So we have the action, we have the direction. So we have the instruction, go. We have the direction, the pool of Siloam. That is where you need to be headed. And again, that word, it tells us in the scripture, means sent. What does that refer to? Well, it's referring to the fact that Jesus was sent to this man for a purpose. Jesus was sent into this world for a purpose. He was asked what that is. He said to seek and to save the lost. What is lost? It's not knowing where you are. It's not knowing where you're going, which is far worse. He gives us the instruction. He gives us the direction. Will we give the obedience? That's what the real question here is, friends. That's what it's all about. Because these are directional words, but they only work if they're applied. It's kind of like receiving an instruction manual on how to do something. Well, I'm not going to read that. I'm going to do it my own way. And then it never works. Well, why? I didn't go by the instructions, which laid it out for me step by step by step. As a result of Jesus coming and this man going, see how the two go together? Jesus came, he gave the instruction, he gave the direction, and the man went. As a result of that, for the first time ever, he could see. Think about how incredible that is. Those of us who have been blessed and fortunate to be able to see since birth, the wonders and the splendors that are around us, the colors, the vibrancy, everything, regardless of what it is that you enjoy, whether it's nature, whether it's, industrial things, what it doesn't matter. It's the amazement of being able to see that. But just for a moment, pause and imagine not being able to see that. And then being able to see it for the very first time. If you watch a baby, there for a little while, they don't see very far. They can see, but they don't see very far. But you see their facial expressions and their mannerisms change when their sight comes into being, when they can really see. They can see the brilliance of things. They can see mom's face. They can see dad's gestures. They can see TV. All the different things catch their attention. They can see a puppy or a kitten. It's amazing to watch their face. So here's a person who's seeing for the very first time. But as I said when I began, friends, what this really is a picture of salvation. And I want you to understand this. This is a picture of salvation of a lost person, someone who's never known Christ, coming to him, someone who has been born into darkness, as we all have been, and continued to live that way without sight, maybe having visual sight, but not having spiritual sight. And then one day, Jesus comes. And he gives instruction. And he gives direction. And he says, I have come that you may have sight, because I'm the light of the world. And if you'll receive this, if you'll accept that, you'll be able to see. And when we've made that commitment, for those of us who have done that, you can see things you've never seen before. You can hear things you've never heard before. And this gift of salvation, if we will receive it, that's our action part. Yes, Lord, that's our action part of the receiving of that instruction. Our action, when he says to go to the blind man, the go to us is, yes, Lord, I want that. The receiving of that incredible, beautiful gift opens blinded eyes. So my question to you today as we close up our time, have you received that instruction? Have you received that direction? If you have, what have you done with it? Have you gone? Are you there? If you haven't, friends, he's saying to you today, go. Go. Receive what it is that you've been given and put it into works. Put it into place. Let it work for you. Let it change your life. The world is upside down right now. Nobody's going to argue about that. We could give just an abundance of examples, but that's not necessary. The truth is, we can see what those things are. But you can see through them if you'll see it with the eyes of Christ, because you can see on the other side of it and know without a doubt there are better days coming. And I believe that with all my heart. I teach that every single day, and today will be no exception. The blind man's story is powerful when we understand what it means. It wasn't just another miracle that Jesus did that can go on the list that we can check off of all the miracles that we have recordings of that Jesus performed. This goes so much deeper than that, because it's speaking to me and to you about the instructions that we receive and the directions. The question is, are you willing to go? I pray this has been a blessing to you. Share this with somebody that doesn't understand these things, or maybe hasn't considered these things, and let them receive their instruction. Let them receive their directions. And let's pray together that they too will go. So I hope you have a great day. We're going to go ahead and be done for the day. I'll be back with you tomorrow, Lord willing, for another edition of Making It Simple. But I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are, you get a chance to watch this. But I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Thank you again for your support. Thank you for your wonderful comments and your feedback. I appreciate you watching. You know, we put a lot of heart and a lot of thought into this, and it truly is from my heart to you. So God bless you. Have an awesome day, and Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow.